Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope everybody's had a really good week. This week I wanted to get into antiquing. I get a lot of questions about this and just wanted to share some tips that I have. So antiquing is when you use like an antique paste or gel and you go over your finished tooled piece. It falls sort of into all the little divots and marks that you made with your stamps. It's also really nice on just regular embossed like stamp goods as well too. Very simple, just really makes your design kind of pop. Like this is just a piece that I dyed all brown, put a resist over it and antiqued it, and you can see it gets down into all those cool little textures and stuff. So I'm going to go over a few different ways of doing it, including I'm going to paint this skull that we did a while ago using my favorite paint on the entire planet, Alpha 6. The Alpha Flex line is made specifically for leather crafters and fabric artists, so it's nice and flexible. Okay, as I was saying before I knocked everything down, this paint is nice and flexible. The coverage on it is absolutely wild. It's very highly pigmented. And so I find with things like white or the lighter colors, you do far less coats than with some other leather specific paint that's available. Again, I'm not going to speak poorly of that brand. I still use it a fair bit in some things as well too. So, I mean, everything kind of has its application and its place. I just really, really love the Alpha 6, especially for painting tool pieces. So with this one, just for purposes of the video, I'm going to keep it pretty short. I'm not going to go and get all wild with the color. Normally I'd paint in, you know, some gray and some shadows and whatnot, but we'll keep this one nice and simple. So when I'm painting, I also like to keep it nice and thin too. You don't want to put big puddles or anything onto your project. If you want something a little bit more opaque, then go ahead and just do a second coat once it's dry. Personally, especially doing like skulls and stuff like this, I like to keep it at just one coat because then you get a little bit of the sort of natural leather kind of peeking through like a little bit. It's just kind of a nice feature. It looks like a little bit more weathered. I personally prefer things with a lot of patina on them. Okay, so once the stuff also dries extremely fast, which is also quite nice. I'm just going to give this a couple minutes. I'll be right back, and then we'll go over some clear coating. Okay, so this is nice and dry now. I'm going to go ahead. There's a lot of different resists you can use. My personal favorite is I just use the Angelus High Gloss Acrylic Finisher. What I do though is I cut it 1-to-1 with distilled water. And I just find it goes on a lot smoother. It kind of soaks into the leather. You know, it doesn't leave any sort of streaks or anything. And so what we're going to do here is just go on quite liberally. You don't want to brush this too much, especially when it starts to dry. You'll end up with a lot of little streaks and sort of brush marks. If you get in there and you get it on quick, any of these little bubbles and stuff are just going to disappear. It's almost like, it's kind of like self-leveling a little bit. I'll go ahead and get rid of any of the like really big ones, but the rest of them will just dissipate. And we'll just set this aside to dry. I am going to prepare these other little guys, and I'm also going to leave one without resist so I can show you sort of what happens and why you want to use a resist, or maybe not. You know, if you want it like a little bit extra sort of rustic looking, that's totally cool too. I'm just going to give you some sort of tips to make nice, clean looking antique jobs. Now, sometimes I will let this dry completely overnight, just, you know, to make sure it's really in there, it's really set, it's fully cured. This stuff doesn't actually take that long to dry. You can also kind of speed it up with a hairdryer, but you want to be careful that you're not scorching it. You're using too high of heat. So this little fella is nice and cured. I just used a little bit of a blow dryer to sort of speed that up a bit. And this is my personal favorite, just the Phoebing's Antique Paste. It's very easy to use. I just apply it with an old toothbrush. And the nice thing too is if you get too much on your piece, you can just scrape it right back into the container and use it again. So I'm just going to go ahead and really work this in to all the areas that are stamped or tooled, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to scrape this little bit of excess off. I always get comments that this is like the most stressful part of the process to watch, and it can be. I've definitely ruined pieces where I haven't waited long enough or I haven't done a thick enough clear coat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, while it's still wet, I'm going to take one rag just to kind of get the bulk of it off. And then I'm going to come in with a nice clean one. And this is just t-shirt rag material. I just get it from Home Depot in giant boxes and they last forever. And there you have it. If there's anywhere that's kind of like pooling a little bit, you can kind of get in there and remove a little bit of it. But it's just going to pick up all the details that your tooling stamps made. And this is why I like using the heavy checked beveler. I just think it gives it kind of like a nice, cool shadow. So now that this is all done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside. This I definitely like to leave overnight, and then do another layer of just the clear coat over top once it's fully cured. If you do it right away, what's going to happen is if it's still kind of wet, it's going to streak and it's going to go all over the place. So I just suggest just really letting it cure, you know, kind of set it aside, give it some time. And so this is the little piece that I didn't put a resist on. And we're just going to go ahead and throw a little bit of paste in there. I'm using the black just because it's going to show up the best on camera. I do use it a lot in my work just because I like the nice bold contrast of it. It does come in a bunch of different colors as well too. And I'm also going to show you a little trick on how to make your own. So as you can see, because I didn't put a resist on this one, it's gotten down into all of the pores of the leather and darkened it quite a bit. And because this design has such thick lines, it doesn't always stay right down in there. So you do get like a lot of variation, which is really cool. It's a little bit lighter on some sides than others, but if you compare it to, we'll just call this like the control, it has darkened the rest of the leather. This one has had a resist on it and this one has not. So we're gonna go ahead and antique this little one so you can see the difference. So as you can see, this one's much darker. This one did still get a little bit of antique into the pores, so that just means that I did not put a heavy enough clear coat on this. I mean, it's not undesirable. I will also wait for it to fully dry. Sometimes a little bit of alcohol very carefully on a clean rag will bring a little bit of that up, but you don't want to splash it into your design there. So one really fun tip I'd love to share with you guys is Phoebing's also has a neutral antique finish, and the cool thing about this, I'm just going to give it a little stir, it's a little separated, is you can make your own color of antique paste. So it's very easy to do. I just get these little Dixie cups from the dollar store. And you don't really need a lot. You can mix it, I guess, in like a little jar and sort of keep it sealed and use it later is also an option too. And then I just add a little bit of paint. So I'm gonna throw in some of this Alpha Purple. And I like to just start with a couple of drops and kind of see what that gives us. So it's still quite light. I am going to want to go a little bit darker. So it's still quite a light purple. I'm just going to go ahead and add a few more drops. And anytime you're mixing paint, resins, anything like that, just make sure you're scraping your sides. Then you don't end up with, you know, unmixed business in your final product. And there we go. That is exactly the color I was looking for. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that with a paintbrush. I just buy these huge bulk packs of paintbrushes from Michael's. They're like, I think like 14 bucks, and they last forever. And then you just treat it as you do any other antique. This might be a little bit lighter than anticipated, and that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe that off and add some more paint. There we go. I've done this with like mirrored paints as well too. Stuff with like a little color shift. Sometimes when I do like a night sky scene as one of my older videos, I kind of go over it when I was doing the panels for the quarter leather bag. There's kind of like a night scene and I wanted the stars to sort of pop out. So I actually antiqued them with silver, which turned out really cool looking. So we're just gonna get this excess out of here. And you can kind of brush as little or as much out of there as you'd like. So if you want it looking a little bit more faint, just go over, rub a bit more of it out, or you can leave a little bit more in there to give it kind of a bolder look. And there you have it. just a few different tips and tricks on how to antique your pieces. I hope this has been helpful. Please leave any messages or questions you may have in the comments, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.